believe that you did not stumble on this video by chance. I know that God ordained this moment for us to meet. And because the words that I'm about to share in the next few minutes will completely change your life. I promise you that. Today, I was sent to a specific person, a person who is going through a very difficult financial period right now. Your back is against the wall. You have done everything that you could think of doing. You have borrowed so much. The creditors are always calling your family members. You're out there changing numbers. You have no idea where the next meal will come from. Today's video have been sent directly to you. And I want you to watch this video, watch it slowly, save it, share it. And I want you to implement what I'm about to share in the next few minutes, what I shall call the blueprint of business. That I will share with you through the scriptures, a practical application that if you can apply this in any idea or venture that you can have, it will guarantee you 100% sure success. Today, God led me to the story of Elisha, and a widow and oil. Those are the three main characters in the story. A widow, her husband has just died. She was married to one of the sons in the company of the prophets. She comes to Elisha with a problem. She tells Elisha, my husband has just died and he had borrowed so many loans. Now the creditors are knocking at my door. They've carried everything that I want and now they are threatening to take my two sons. Kindly help me. Elisha, filled with the Spirit of God, he's filled with the gift of wisdom. So wisdom is basically practical application of scripture to find solutions to problems that people face. Elisha, filled of the Spirit, gives her a very wonderful idea, what I shall call a blueprint for business. Elisha asks her, what do you have in your house? This woman, she looks around her house, her empty house, and she says, I have nothing. And then by a stroke of genius, she remembers, no, I have a small jar of olive oil. Elisha then proceeded to give her a blueprint. She tells her, do this. I want you to go to your neighbors and I want you to borrow containers from them, empty containers. And please do not borrow a few. Then take these containers, lock yourself in your house, close the door behind you, and I want you to take that small jar of olive oil and I want you to pour in the containers. This woman, in obedience, she goes and does that. She goes to all of her neighbors, borrowing containers, small, big, large, and she comes with them. And then she closes the door and she begins to pour oil in the containers. And once the containers run out, then the flow of oil stops. This woman goes to Elisha and tells Elisha, I have done what you told me. What should I do next? Elisha tells her, go, take the oil, sell it in the market, pay your debt, and live on the rest. There lies the brilliance of the blueprint of business. And I want you to take a note and write these things because I want to break it down on where the secret and where the solution is. Number one, Elisha asks her, what do you have in your house? And as I was thinking about it, what came into my mind was, do you have any skill? Do you have any talent? Do you have any gifting? Do you have any equipment? Like for example, if you're funny, if your friends always laugh at your jokes, then maybe you can begin an emceeing business. If you're talented with plaiting hair, maybe you can begin a mobile salon business. If you have a phone and you love shooting videos like I do, maybe you can start vlogging, start a YouTube channel, start posting videos on TikTok and Instagram. And if you have an oven in your house, that can be used to begin a baking business. If you have a cooker, you can begin by selling food. What do you have in your house? What Elisha asked is a very important question I want to ask you now. What do you have in your house? Your house may mean you. What is the skill that you possess? Do you love taking photos? You can become a photographer. Do you love listening to music? You can become a DJ. What is it that you have in your house? And like this woman, she said, I have nothing. Your house, I have nothing. And I realized is that God will use that thing that you think is so small that God cannot use. For example, for me, to begin my photography business, I had a 2-megapixel camera. That's what I began Ben Kiruthi photography with. A phone with a 2-megapixel camera is. What do you have in your house? The next instruction, Elisha tells her, go and borrow containers from your neighbor and do not borrow from all of your neighbors. One of the biggest issues that I always get before starting any venture is capital. Where will I get the capital to start my business? That is always the elephant in the room when it comes to business or ideas. But Elisha here, he gives us a blueprint. that the secret is go and borrow from all of your neighbors. That will mean, what is your social capital? Who do you know? Who are your family members? Who are your neighbors? Who are your friends? Go and write up a proposal. You do a presentation. I remember when I was beginning my photography business, dressed up in a suit. I wrote a list of all the people who I know, who I think they can have money. And I went and I set up a meeting with all of them, and I sold them my heart and my idea. And I told them, you know what? I want you to lend me money. Don't give me money. Borrow. Elisha tells her borrow. That will mean you'll have to return it. I give them my idea and tell them I want to do this and this and this and this and this. Can you lend me whatever amount of money you have? Whether it is small or big, just give me. Borrow containers from your neighbor. That is the easiest way to get capital, because this capital, unlike banks or SACCOs, this capital is patient. They are more understanding. In case you default or in case you don't hit the plan that you had, they are more understanding. You understand? And always remember this, it is borrowed. That will mean draw up a proposal, a realistic plan on when you can pay it back, but ensure that you pay it back. These containers must be returned. The next thing Elisha tells the woman is this: close the door behind you and pour. And here, guys, is where very, very many people go astray. Because very many people, once they get an idea, they want to just go and begin posting, begin selling, begin telling everyone about it, while they have not worked at it. Even though it is a skill. For example, you have an oven and you want to start selling cakes, birthday cakes and wedding cakes. Work at it. Work on your recipe. You try different things. Make cookies. Try this. Find out what works. If you want to begin selling chips in your neighborhood, practice it from your kitchen first. You close the door behind you and pour. Pour means begin to work out that idea that you have. Put it into practical application. Let it leave your head and go into your hand. Actually do it. If you want to become an MC, the mirror is your best friend. Tell jokes. You laugh at them. You write jokes down. You practice those dance moves you'll be dancing. Do all these things. Close the door behind you and pour. The next thing Elisha tells us is that you and your sons close the door behind. That will mean that the idea that you have, your first customers, before you sell it to us who are the market, sell it to your close family and friends. Let them taste those cupcakes. Let them give you feedback. Let them hear how you mix. Let them take photos of them. For me, I believe the first time that I began taking photos, I started taking photos of my friends at church. My youth group members, I used to call them to my bedsitter in Mirema, take photos of them. It was free. Even though they were horrid, man, they got their money's worth. But I practiced in private. Before you expose your idea, make sure you refine it and practice it in private. And the next thing is this, that when the oil stopped flowing, this woman went to Elisha and she said, what do I do next? And Elisha said this, go out and sell. Now guys, here, once you've perfected your idea, the next thing is to sell. Go ballistic in your marketing. Tell every Tom, Dick, and Harry what you're doing. Make flyers. I remember one day when me and my friend, we began a laundry business in washing. So what we did, we printed flyers. We went to every flat. You talked with the watchman and put a stick on every door that here we do laundry, here's our number. Market, sell. The whole idea is to sell. Take it to market and sell aggressively. Lastly, Elisha tells her this: pay your debt and live on the rest. Perfect idea. The first thing you should do, your first order of business, is to pay back all those people who you owe money. Pay them back, because they are your next. Because if you borrow and you pay back, then the next time you come to borrow, I'll be more comfortable to give you money and even to increase the limit. Pay your debt and then live on the rest. And finally, as I finished off, repeat the cycle. Repeat the cycle. Keep pouring the oil. Now that you have some capital, now you can stop borrowing. Now you can actually buy your own containers. At the end of the day, this is a blueprint of business. If you can just implement it as it is, I guarantee you guys 100% success. Lastly, let me finish up with a proverb. You know me, I'm a proverb dude. Proverbs 10:4 says this: lazy hands make one poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. That will mean that the wealth that you're asking for is in your hands. If your hands are lazy, if you love sleeping, if you love doing a shoddy job, your wealth is in your hands. But diligent hands bring wealth. Till next time, guys, God bless.